Last day of notes on elimination. Here we go. So remember, from the 3.3e notes, we have to look at this, and sometimes when we look, we see I only need to multiply one equation by a number to help me cancel out one of these variables. I need the same number in front of the same variable with different signs. So what that means is I want to look and say, can I multiply 8 by something to get to 16? And I can. I can multiply this top equation, multiply the entire equation by 2. Okay, I can't do that with the y's because I can't multiply 6 by an integer to get to 7 or 7 by an integer to get to 6. So if I multiply by 2, we're going to remember we need to distribute this through here. So this 2 will be multiplied by every term inside the parentheses and every term in that top equation. So what I'm left with is this. 2 times 8x is 16x. 2 times negative 6y is negative 12y. And 2 times negative 20 is negative 40. The bottom equation stays the way it is, and I will just add my columns together because now I can see that my x's will cancel. 16x minus 16x is 0. These are gone. Negative 12y plus 7y is negative 5y. And negative 40 plus 30 is negative 10. The last thing I need to do to solve for y is divide both sides by negative 5. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. There is a 1 in front of this y. We just don't write it. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is 2. But remember, we are not finished here. We need to get our x value. So I'm going to take this y, and I'm going to use the top equation, 8x minus 6y equals negative 20. You can use the bottom equation if you choose. It does not matter. You will get the same answer as long as you solve for y correctly. So 6 times y is 2 equals negative 20. Let's go through and solve this now. I have 8x minus 6 times 2 is 12 equals negative 20. Move the negative 12 over by doing the opposite. So I will add 12 to both sides. What do I get? Well, left-hand side is just 8x because negative 12 plus 12 is 0, so they're gone. Negative 20 plus 12 gives me a negative 8. Last step, I divide by the number in front of x to get that x by itself. X equals negative 1. Final answer, write it as a point. X goes first, y goes second, and there we go, we're finished. Same three parts of the notes that I'm going to pull out here and just point out to you. Remember, we need these three things. Same number in front of the same variable with different signs, and we will be able to eliminate a variable and solve for the other variable. So let me show you how these are different. Now in the bell ringer, I was able to take my x value and multiply by a number to get to the other x value. But if we look here, we don't have that option for any of these. I can't multiply 3 by a number to get to 5, and I can't multiply 2 by a number to get to 5, or vice versa, 5 to get to 2 or 5 to get to 3. So what I do in this case is I take each equation, pick a variable, okay? It doesn't matter which one, just pick a variable. Let's say I'm going to pick the y's. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to take this 5 and multiply it by this equation. So multiply by 5. Take this 2, multiply it by this equation. Now look at what we get. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. So what do I get? I get the same number in front of the same variable, but I have the same sign. Those would both be negative 10s. So take your pick. Make one of these a negative. It doesn't matter which one. We'll get the same answer for our final answer. Multiply the 5 through. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times negative 2y is negative 10y. And 5 times 2 is 10. Next, negative 2 times 5 is negative 10x. Negative 2 times negative 5 is a positive 10y. Negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. negative 20. All right, now, if you get to this step right here, and one of your variables will not cancel out, like let's say we forgot to multiply by a negative 2, and we just multiply by a positive 2, then this would be a negative 10, and they would both be negative 10. The easy fix for that is to just go through and change all of your signs. And I'll do that on the next problem just to show you what I mean exactly. All right, but now we are ready to add these columns together. 15 plus negative 10, same thing as 15 minus 10, gives me 5x. Negative 10y plus 10y is 0. Those are gone. 10 plus a negative 20, like I said, same thing as 10 minus 20 is negative 10. Last step, divide by the number in front of the x to get x by itself, and I'm left with x equals negative 2. Just like all these other problems, we are not yet finished. We now need to plug this into one of the originals. Do not use one of these two equations that I wrote in red and green, because if we made a mistake there, it's going to give us two incorrect answers, where if we go back to the original, a lot of times we can tell whether we did it correct or not. So I'm going to come back to the original equation. I'm going to use the top one, 3x minus 2y equals 2. And I'm taking that 2, or the negative 2, I'm sorry, and I'm going to plug that in for x. So let's see what we get here. X, I'm replacing with the negative 2 because I know that is what x is equal to. So I'm going to plug that in there. And now I'm going to rewrite the rest of the equation. So minus 2y equals 2. So let's see what we get here. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Bring down the rest, minus 2y equals 2. Keep it going, move the number with no variable. So add 6, we got to do the opposite, that's a minus, so I will add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0, those are gone. Bring down my negative 2y, and 2 plus 6 is 8. Last thing we need to do to get rid of the number in front of the variable is divide. So we will divide both sides by negative 2 in this case, and I get a negative 4 for that part of the answer. Overall, final answer, x goes first, y is second. Just like all the other problems with systems of equations, that's how we will write our final answer. Next, again, when we look at this, you have to be able to recognize which method you're using here, okay? So what you're looking for is, can I multiply 2 by a number to get to negative 5? No. Can I multiply 8 by a number and get to negative 20? Again, no. We could multiply by fractions, but we're ignoring fractions. So what we have to do is multiply both equations by a number. Let's say in this problem, if we wanted to eliminate the x's. So I will multiply by negative 5 on the top. Okay, I'm just multiplying by the number that's in front of the variable I chose. If you chose to eliminate the y's, then you would multiply your top equation by 20. Okay? Now, if I multiply the bottom equation, if I'm eliminating the x's, I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by 2. So let's multiply these and see what we get. Negative 5 times 2x is negative 10x. Negative 5 times 8 is negative 40y equals negative 5 times 6 is negative 30. Now multiply the bottom equation by 2. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10x. 2 times negative 20 is negative 40y equals 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. So, I mean, it should be pretty obvious what's going on here. They're the exact same thing, right? You can see they're the exact same equation. But we cannot eliminate a variable because if I was trying to eliminate the x's, they have the same number in front of the same variable, but they are not different signs. They're both negative. The easy fix is go through and change all of the signs in that equation only. We don't want to do it to the top one, just the bottom one. Now I can add. Negative 10x plus 10x is 0. Negative 40y plus 40y is 0. Negative 30 plus 30 is 0. The variables all canceled, It's a true statement, which means my answer is infinitely many solutions, IMS. All right, next. You can, again, take your pick as to which variable you want to eliminate. If I know I'm trying to get opposite signs, one positive and one negative, I'm going to eliminate the y's because they already have that. So I'm going to multiply the top equation by the number in front of the y, which is a 7. And I'm going to multiply the bottom equation by the number in front of the y, which is a 2. Now take note here, I did not multiply by a negative 2, because if I did, they would both end up being a negative 14y, and I don't want that. I want one positive and one negative. So I'm just taking the number, I'm not taking the sign, if they already have opposite signs. If they were both negative or both positive, one of these would have to be negative, okay? So just keep that in mind. All right, let's multiply the 7 through. 7 times negative 4x, that gives me a negative 28x. 7 times negative 2 gives me negative 14y. And the last one, 7 times 14, gives me 98. Bottom equation, multiply 2 through. 2 times negative 10 is negative 20x. 2 times 7y is 14y. That's what we wanted. Same number in front of the same variable with different signs. So we know the y's will cancel. Equals 2 times negative 25 is negative 50. All right, let's see what we got now. Negative 28 minus 20 is a negative 48x. Negative 14 plus 14 is 0. They cancel. They're gone. Equals 98 minus 50 is, you guessed it, 48. Divide by a negative 48. Divide by negative 48. And what do we get? X equals negative 1. Run it back up to the top and plug it into one of them. Doesn't matter which one, take your pick. I like the top one because it has smaller numbers. So I'm going to pick the top equation. Negative 4x minus 2y equals 14. What am I plugging in? Well, I'm plugging in a negative 1 for x. Okay, so let's plug in the negative 1 for x and see what we get. Negative 4, x is negative 1, minus 2y equals 14. Now we go through our two-step equation here. Negative 4 times negative 1 is 4, minus 2y equals 14. I'm going to go through the rest of these steps here. Pause if you need to catch up, but I'm going to run through it quickly. We've done a ton of these, so hopefully you are on track with what to do here. Move the 4, we have to subtract 4. That's 0. Negative 2y equals 10. I'm going to divide both sides by a negative 2 to get that y is equal to negative 5. Let's write our final answer as a point. X goes first, and then y. Final answer. There we go. Next. What are we going to choose here? Well, take your pick. Again, it doesn't matter which one you want to eliminate. If you want to eliminate the x's, multiply the top one by 3 and the bottom one by 5. If you want to eliminate the y's, multiply the top one by 9 and the bottom one by 4. I just eliminated the x's in that last one. I'm sorry, I eliminated the y's in the last one, so I'm going to eliminate the x's here. So I'm going to multiply the top by 3, and I'm going to multiply the bottom one by 5. And again, I'm just picking the number that's out front here. So this equation has a 3. That's why I multiplied it by a 3. This equation has a 5. That's why I multiplied the other equation by a 5. So it will cancel the x terms. So 3 times 5 is 15x. 3 times 4y is 12y. And 3 times negative 30 is negative 90. Bottom equation, 5 times 3x gives me 15x. 5 times negative 9 is negative 45y. And the last one, 5 times negative 18 gives you negative 90. Now look, we have a problem here because the x's that's what we were trying to cancel out, but they are not opposite signs. It's the same number in front of the same variable, but they're both positive. So we got a problem there. But it's an easy fix. Like I said, go through and change all the signs. So I'm going to make this a negative, make this a positive, make this a positive. Now I'm ready. 15x minus 15x is 0, they're gone. 12y plus 45y is 57y. Biggest mistake I see on these problems, negative 90 plus 90 is 0. And people right away, they say no solution, right? And they want to just right away just kind of say that it's no solution because the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side. That is not the case. You only have IMS and no solution if all of the variables cancel. All of my variables did not cancel here. I still have a y. So I have to divide by 57, and I get that y is equal to 0. Okay, it's not no solution. It is a solution. The solution is 0. So now let's solve for an x value. I'm going to use the bottom equation, 3x minus 9y equals negative 18. So let's plug in my y. 3x minus 9 times y is 0 equals negative 18. Well, what's 9 times 0? 0. So this is gone. And I'm left with 3x equals negative 18, which I will divide by 3, and I get that x is equal to negative 6. Write it as your point, negative 6, 0. That is the final answer for this problem, okay? So just remember that. Put a little star or something, like make this stand out because this is one of the biggest issues I see. This is not no solution. We have a solution. It's right here. All right, next. Last problem here. Remember, we want this to be in that standard form, ax plus by equals c. We don't really have that here, so we need to do a little bit of work before we begin. So the top equation is perfectly fine the way it is, 5x plus 4y equals a negative 14. The bottom equation, however, just needs to be flipped. So 3x, the x and y are already on the same side of the equal sign, so I'm just going to rewrite them in the correct order. There's no need to subtract everything. We can just write it like that. All right, so go ahead. I would highly suggest you pause the video right here, work ahead, and see how you do with this. Take your pick as to whether you want to eliminate the x's or the y's. It does not matter. Take your pick and see what you get for your answer. So go ahead and pause the video and try it out. Okay, so hopefully you did pause the video and try it because I really want to make sure that you understand how to do these problems. So multiply the top equation. I'm choosing to eliminate the x's. So I'm going to multiply by 3, right? I'm multiplying by 3 because that's the number in front of the x in the other equation. So I'm going to multiply this by 3. For the bottom equation, I will multiply this by 5 because that is the number in front of the x in the other equation. So let's multiply. 3 times 5x is 15x. 3 times 4y is 12y. And the last one, 3 times 14 gives you 42. Well, negative 42 because it's a negative 14. 5 times 3x is 15x. 5 times 6y is 30y. And 5 times 6 is 30. Now again, we have the same problem that we had in the last example. These x's do not cancel because 15x plus 15x is 30x. We want that to be a 0. So I'm going to change all of my signs. Negative 15, I'm going to scribble this out and write a minus 30, and I'm going to put a negative in front of that 30. Okay? So just keep that in mind. If you end up with the same number in front of the same variable, but they have the same sign, just multiply 1 by -1, change all the signs, and make them have opposite signs. All right, so now I'm ready. 15 minus 15 is 0. They're gone. 12y minus 30y is -18y. And -42 minus 30 is -72. The last step that we need to do here is divide. I will divide both sides by -18, divide both sides by -18, and I end up with y equals to 4. So y equals 4. Let's bring that number back up to one of my originals. Does not matter which one you choose. I'm gonna use the bottom one this time. 6 equals 3x plus 6y. I know I just solved here y is 4. So 6 equals 3x plus 6 times 4. Now let's go through and solve this. 6 equals 3x plus 24. Move the 24. Right now it is a positive, so I will do the opposite and subtract. Subtract 24 from both sides. 24 minus 24 is 0. They're gone. 6 minus 24 is -18 equals 3x. Divide both sides by 3 to get the x by itself, and I get -6 equals x. So I am ready to write my answer as a point. X goes first, and then y. So there's your final answer. And again, this is the final day of solving systems of equations by elimination. And if you have any questions at all about this, please let us know. Send me an email, send me a private comment, and just let me know what it is that you're struggling with, and I will do my best to help you out.